Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 86 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm here with Joey and Jackson. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Jackson?
Good.
Good. Jackson's good. He knows. Since we
Hey!
don't have Coach Cove here on today's full podcast episode, Jackson's stepping in quite nicely with his good. Glad to hear that you're doing good, Jackson. But I'm sure we've all been doing good now that basketball has been back. We're now officially a week into the season as this is getting released. And there has definitely been some mixed things to talk about or to see from all these teams so far. A lot of mixed results going in. Can't wait to talk about all these teams after their first 2-3 games of the season. We'll get into a little bit of buying or selling, a panic meter, a lot of way too early things, even though we're not even a week into the season. But to get things kicked off, we are of course doing PERTL, which we need to bounce back after getting 5 last time. We need to bounce back.
Pretty brutal.
Guys, I need some help on the PERTL. I can't do it all myself.
I know Justin Champagny really killed us on last episode, but we are gonna get it on this one. I think I'm feeling good about this. I'm gonna guess the first player because I haven't guessed the first one yet. I'm feeling Amir Coffee.
Ooh, okay.
Unseen player, interesting.
Amir Coffee. Let's see. Is it okay?
Oh God.
Okay. I tried, but we do know it's it's gonna be a guard, like a 6'5", 6'6" wing, who is younger, plays in the East, and has a double-digit number.
I got one. Isaac Okoro.
Isaac Okoro. That he does fit, and we do need to go in the East. So let's give it a go. Isaac Okoro. All right, good.
He's 20 age, and he's 6'6".
6'4", who's 23 years old, and wears a number between 10 and 32.
And he's a forward and not in the Central Division at all.
6'6" forward. Jackson, what are you thinking?
Hey, the god of PERTL.
Gotta live up to the name.
Yeah.
Same division.
You wanted help. He needs concentration, folks. It's not like this is a podcast where you're listening to us talk, but Goglin needs silence.
Exactly. Huh. This is actually tough. Okay, 23 years old. Let's see. I'm trying to think similar. I don't know, maybe similar draft class.
And 32. So Isaac Okoro, it would be. Is it Franz?
Franz Wagner.
He's 6'6". Franz Wagner is like 6'10".
Oh, no, he's like 6'10".
Yeah, I feel like Franz. Yeah, Franz is a big guy.
Franz is like 6'10".
All right, tell on me, will ya?
I don't mind that though. That's not.
No, that's a
terrible.
good. It's a good idea.
Jeez, this is tough. Play along with us at home if you haven't played this one
KJ Martin this year. KJ Martin's 23, right?
Who?
KJ Martin? I think he's the number 1.
Oh.
Shoot. I mean, no, Caleb Martin's not 23 years old now. Do we want to guess a Franz Wagner or Caleb Martin just so we can get the division?
Or a team?
No, I don't want to take one that we know is already.
No, because we guessed 5 last time. This will be our third guess.
Wait.
We got to get it pretty close. What are you looking up?
It's not. Dang, it's not. It can't
Dude,
be
wait.
him.
Is it Kispert?
Corey Kispert.
22.
6'6".
Number 20.
That would make sense.
Ooh, it could be.
Is it back-to-back episodes where it's a Washington Wizard? Do we want to guess him?
Yeah, I'm with
All right. Dude, it's going to be back-to-back.
I can look up what.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay, so everything, but it's lower than 24.
Okay, so he's either on the
Oh,
Hawks,
I guess he is older.
the Hawks, the Magic, the Hornets. Ooh. And it's between the numbers 10 and 21.
How old is Brandon Miller?
I was just thinking that.
He wears the number 24.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be that.
He's been injured the whole year, so I didn't know.
Let's see.
Hmm.
I'll look up the divisions.
Look up the divisions. No, it's the Hawks, the Hornets.
Oh,
the
wait.
Wizards and the Magic.
Yeah.
It's DeAndre Hunt. It's got to be DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunt.
12.
Oh, I feel like he was. Yeah, is he? He can't be only 24 years old.
He was in Okoro's draft class.
He was in Okoro's draft class.
No, he was the year before. But still,
Was he?
He
No,
was.
he
He
was
was in. He was in 2019. Well, let's try it. DeAndre Hunter. No. Yeah, 26.
He was.
Okay, but okay, 11
Okay,
or
so
10.
it's between set. It's okay.
I'm gonna crash out.
Gosh, we did 5 again.
Okay, let's see. Is it? No. Is it Jaime Jaquez? Is he an older?
He's 11. Yeah, it is.
Second-year player.
Jaime.
It is, and he's number 11. 6. He is 6.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Dang, dude. Dang, back-to-back 5.
Back to
Oh,
back.
I forgot he was number 11.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, man. All right. We have to get it next time. I think this is all brewing up for us to have a crazy explosion on our.
I gotta
on
start
a future
practicing
episode.
this on the off days. I gotta do this.
I do too. I probably do as well.
Lose it.
or else Goglin's gonna lose it. So we're still without legit win in PERTL if we're going up against
well, we got
birdies,
one in
right?
2, right?
We did.
We're up.
No, we got one in 3. We got one in
We're
3.
+4 right now. Or +5.
Yeah.
Wait. +4.
Yeah, it's definitely increased now. That's for sure.
Well, actually, we're way above. Oh wait, yeah, we're only +4.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, let us know in the comments if you were able to get that sooner. Definitely want to hear your thoughts down below. But now let's get into, I guess, recapping some of these teams' weekends a little bit. Now, all these teams, again, we're recording this on Monday night before the games are going on. So every team has played 2 or 3 games so far. And at this point, there are only 4 teams in the entire league that are still undefeated without a loss. So we are going to play way too early buy or sell on some of these teams and their hot starts. So let's get started, Jackson. We'll start with you for this first team. The Los Angeles Lakers, 3-0 so far on the season. Perhaps the most impressive 3-0 start of any of these teams with the competition that they have played.
Yeah.
Are you buying or selling on the Lakers' start to the season?
Dude, I'm buying. LeBron's been saying he wants to play all 82 games this year, barring injury. And AD's looking like the MVP right now. They're letting him do his thing, and he's proven why he deserves to run the show, as Dante DiVincenzo would say. But yeah, I like this Lakers team. I think JJ Redick's doing a great job. And they have the highest scoring father-son duo in NBA history.
Oh,
What more could you want?
Lord. Of course it's the highest father-son duo. He's got 40,000. Nobody even comes close to LeBron even duo.
Kobe and his dad.
Oh my gosh.
No, that is right. But Joey.
Yeah, I agree. I hate agreeing with Goglin, but he's right. He's right. If LeBron's talking like and feels like he could play the whole season, he's talking like it. If AD is playing like a top 3 player, and I'm with you, he's probably the best player right now on the planet. At least through these first couple of games, he's playing like an MVP type right away. And they could do that. There is no doubt in my mind that these guys could compete. Because you got LeBron and an elite AD on you. Oh my gosh, that's I think I said, yeah. That's why they're the best duo in the league, in my opinion. That's why I said that. Like, you can't count them out yet.
They're looking true.
Yeah, it's looking very true right now. I mean, so far the 3 Laker victories. I mean, of the 4 teams that are undefeated, and we'll get to some of them later. You know, the other 3 teams, the competition that they have played not the best compared to the Lakers. When you look at who the Lakers have played, defeating the Timberwolves on opening night, which was a game that they were not favored. Then on Friday night against the Phoenix Suns, who got off to a hot start. The Suns had a 22-point lead in the first half of that game. Then the Lakers came back. Anthony Davis was amazing in both of those games. But maybe the most impressive one was Saturday, second day of a back-to-back after that come-from-behind victory against the Suns. You play against a Sacramento Kings team who has had the Lakers' number over the last few seasons, if we're being honest. And the Kings, they played a very solid game. They had a 7-point lead near the start of the fourth quarter. It was very back and forth. And then LeBron goes berserk to start the fourth quarter. He scores 16 of the first 21 points of the fourth quarter for the Lakers. And that led a 21-0 run to start the quarter for the Lakers. And that got them to the victory against the Kings. So being 3-0, all the games were at home, but the competition that they played and getting the wins, while AD has been a top player in the league, I would put him up there as an MVP so far. And then LeBron being able to just take over for a quarter on any given game like that, it's unbelievable.
It's 3 games into his 22nd season or 21st season?
22nd.
22nd, and he's already gotten 1 triple-double at 40 years old? Right? Didn't he get a triple-double yesterday?
Yeah, he did. He got a triple-double in that game.
I'm like, dude is dogging out there. Yeah, and you're right. The Kings have had I saw that Anthony Davis in his whole career against Sabonis is 10-0 against Anthony Davis until yesterday, or until the other day when the Lakers beat the Kings.
And you saw still even in that game, Sabonis. I mean, you see at the end of the game as well, like Sabonis and AD have that level of respect for each other because Sabonis is one of the few players in the league that is not scared of going right at Anthony Davis.
Oh no,
to score.
He had a good game that night too. I have him on my fantasy team as well as a lot of the Kings.
Yeah, so they have been incredible. Sabonis had a triple-double himself in that game. But looking at the Lakers, their individual numbers to start, Anthony Davis leading the league in scoring so far, 34 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, 57% from the field, getting to the line 15 times per game over the first 3. I mean, that's ridiculous. Look, it's not free throw merchant for him. It's not a free throw merchant type thing.
Right, there's only one free throw merchant in the league.
Yeah.
Stop.
Always finds a way for his favorite player to get mentioned in podcast episodes.
We can mention it because we did just get the notification that he got a tech outside.
He got a post-game technical foul. We'll get to that game in a little bit. But no, so Anthony Davis putting up those monster numbers has been incredible. Then you got LeBron, who after that game, he had been honestly subpar the first couple games until that Kings one. But now on the season, 23, 8, and 7 on very good shooting splits. And then you've got Rui and Austin Reeves both putting up 17 and 18 points. Just consistent play throughout that starting lineup. And you can tell, man, the new head coaching of J.J. Redick has proven dividends for this team. It really makes you think, was it all coaching or the lack of coaching from Darvin Ham the last few seasons?
Definitely helps having an actual coach in there. Even though we were all very hesitant on J.J. Redick, at least he's very good on X's and O's, and he knows what to do. So, clearly it's working.
Yeah, and so for the Lakers, it'll start to get a little more tricky coming up. They have a 5-game road trip, which kicked off last night against the Phoenix Suns again. They're going to play them again after just playing them Friday. So it'll be a nice test for them to see how they can get going. As for some of these other teams, some nice tests coming up. But Lakers buying them so far if Anthony Davis is going to play like this, because it's just ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, you guys said it. If Anthony Davis is going to play like a top 3 player in the league, then it's the Lakers are going to be a very good team.
Oh, yeah.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, no question about it.
I could agree with that.
All right, let's go to our next team. So far 3-0. We'll stay in the Western Conference, and I'll get us started with this one. It is the 3-0 Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm obviously buying them. I'm believing in them a lot this season. And they have come out and been incredible, specifically on the defensive end. They have been clamping up their opponents so far. Of course, they blew out the Nuggets in their first game on Thursday. That was a very impressive game. We'll get to Denver a little bit later on their start to the season. But then solid victories in Chicago last Friday, and then defeating the Hawks at home on Sunday night. And you could tell they came out of the game. I don't know if you saw this, but at the very start of the game, the Hawks and Thunder, the Hawks won the jump ball. Trae Young got possession, and the Thunder sent Lou Dort and I think J-Dub to Trae Young in the backcourt, the very first possession of the game, to send two to the ball and get the Hawks out of rhythm on their first possession. They are not screwing around one bit to start the season, and it has shown. They have by far the best defense in the league. In the modern game where points are getting thrown up so loosely now, their defensive rating right now is a 90.8, which is just absurd right now. They've been fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
What an intimidation move that is, just to throw those guys right away.
It's kind of bullying, like low-key.
Kind of bullying.
Bullying.
And some other defensive numbers as well. They are getting 12 steals per game, which is one of the top numbers in the league, currently second in the league in that category. And then an absurd 10 blocks per game, which is ridiculous. Yes, Chet has been fantastic. He's putting up 4 blocks per game to start. He has been one of the best players in the league. Like, if he is going to play like this, he's going to be a for sure all-star if he is playing like this. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is right up there with the Anthony Davises, the Jason Tatums of the world, as the best player in the league so far this season. The efficiency, not the best for Shai, but overall the numbers: 29 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists per game, doing everything. And then on the defensive end as well, racking up the steals like he did last year, 3 steals and the 2 blocks per game at the point guard position. I mean, they have been incredible. J-Dub's been great. Alex Caruso's addition has been amazing. Him off the bench, it's a different kind of look than you get from a lot of other big name players who come off the bench. Instead of going and asking you to score a bunch of points, he just completely mucks up opposing offenses and makes it impossible to score. I mean, the lineups that the Thunder can throw out, it's going to be so hard for other teams to beat them.
There's a reason I have them going to the finals this year against the Celtics. Like, we'll probably talk about the Celtics later. They're just obviously insane. But, like, for the Thunder, like, we know Shai is an MVP candidate. If he played like he did last year, which he's clearly off to a fantastic start, just picking up where he left off, and is looking like he's going to be an MVP candidate this year. But what they were missing last year, obviously with experience, because this is a super young team, but having Chet. Rookie Chet is different from second-year Chet or third-year Chet, depending on how you look at things. I count it as second year, even though whatever.
Yeah, second year playing.
Second year playing.
Right.
He's showing like a for sure all-star. He, in my opinion, is like the difference maker. And getting Caruso off the bench. Defensive-minded OKC Thunder, where they have elite defenders up and down this whole roster. It's nuts. Defense wins championships, but when you have scoring like Shai and other guys too, this is one of the most complete teams in basketball. I thought it was going to be, and they're proving me right.
I think it is the most complete team. I don't know who else is really competing with them in that. Besides maybe Boston, but even Boston's got a hole at the center position right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the Thunder aren't even full and healthy yet either. They still have Hartenstein to get back in. It's interesting to think, too, I mean, because of their defense and getting a whole lot of stops, they are 5th in the NBA right now. Again, there's 3 games in rebounds per game, which is huge because last season that was their one weakness was their rebounding not being that great, especially in the playoffs. But if you're getting a lot of stops defensively, that's going to get more opportunities to get rebounds out there, and that's what they've been doing. And still yet to see, one of the best rebounders in the game on the floor. So Thunder definitely looking scary so far. I mean, I've said it. I think I have them winning the championship. And so far they're just looking fantastic. We'll see what happens when they eventually hit an inevitable wall, because it does happen for a lot of teams. So we'll see what happens, for the Thunder going forward.
That's the real test for every single elite team is when you face adversity, how are you going to deal with it? Celtics happened right when they lost Porzingis last year, and they obviously carried through to win the ship. The Thunder, same thing. Something's going to happen this year. Can you overcome it? You have the team and the talent, and it seems the coaching and everything. You have everything. You just got to do it. You just got to execute. I love watching the Thunder this year already.
Yeah, they're good. They're good at basketball for sure.
Definitely very good at basketball. Our final team for buy or sell, another undefeated team out there, but this time going to the Eastern Conference, the 3-0 Cleveland Cavaliers so far. But now this is definitely an interesting case because they have had a pretty cupcake schedule to start the season, playing the Raptors, Pistons, and Wizards. But they have taken care of business with beating the teams. With them, I look at how they have beaten those teams and not necessarily who they've been playing, and they have been destroying so far this season. But Joey, as far as buying, selling, or maybe holding, that might be something you could talk about with this team.
I was going to say, I might be on hold, but I'm very close to buying. Because even though these are terrible teams, and they're going to be terrible for the year, this offense looks incredible. That's what we needed last year, and we got it this year. What was the one stat? Like we hit like 140 like one time or something over the last couple seasons with JB or something like that, and we've already hit it like once or twice. Like,
well, no, that was the thing. Like in the Toronto game, the Cavs set a franchise record for most points in a road regulation game with 136 points. Then in the Wizards game, they scored 135 points. So they've already hit their two best road scoring games in franchise history over the first three games. Now, of course, the defense of the Raptors and Wizards, not the greatest. But I think this is a team that holding is perfect for them because they've been very impressive. We'll see how they play when they face some tests. They've got some tough opponents now coming up. Monday night here tonight as we're recording this, they're playing the Knicks at the Garden. Then they play the Lakers. LeBron returns to town. That'll be a fun game. Two teams that are off to great starts, going at it for the first time. Then the Bucks a couple games later. The Magic in a playoff rematch. So the Cavs will definitely have some tests coming up. But so far through three games, I mean, I said before it was important how they started 3-0. They haven't just started 3-0. They have been the most dominant team in the NBA through three games.
Their defense is also just where it was last year. It reminds me so much. Like, they haven't lost any of the things that JB and over the last couple of years that they taught and their identity of being a defensive team, but they've just taken all the upgrades, the ball movement, the flow of the offense under Kenny Atkinson. It is beautiful to watch. I love it. I'm just absolutely. Ask me again in like a week and a half after we've played some real competition, and see if like I'll buy it. If I'll buy or sell them, I'm probably gonna buy them just because if your offense is looking that good, then it's gonna be competitive and hopefully better than the rest of the other teams. So I don't think the lack of competition is gonna hurt them too much, but you never know.
I think for other cases, the fact that the Cavs have beaten their opponents like this is huge because we haven't really seen it in the past where they would just beat the crap out of their opponents. And that's what they did in the Raptors and Wizards games. The Pistons games were a little tougher. Want to give a shout out to the Pistons later on because despite them being 0-3, which is technically the worst record in the league, they have been playing some tough basketball. So they might be 0-3, but they'll be fine later on. I just want to say the defense, that was something I was a little worried about coming in because of changing their identity to become a faster paced team. I was worried that would hurt the defense a little bit, and so far it hasn't. And then on the offensive end, everyone has been playing great. I mean, everyone in the main rotation has been playing very solid. Mobley has been amazing. Jared Allen just had a 10 for 10 game against the Wizards. And even like Darius Garland, you may look at his scoring and assists being down a whole lot, but in a much more team-oriented offense, it's just because his shots have been going down. His efficiency has been through the roof. And in that Wizards game, he looked great again. He was 9 for 11 from the field, 4 or 5 from 3. So, I mean, the Cavs, they've just been looking super impressive. Shout out to Ty Jerome, who has come in and become a huge piece for this team.
I think two big key things to start this year for this team. Obviously, Mobley, he's on his track. He's on the right track to becoming his first All-Star, like a lot of us predicted. But Ty Jerome, healthy this year. He was out all last year, and right off the rip, he's early 6th man of the year candidate. You could say he is playing fantastic, leading the bench unit. And then Dean Wade in the starting lineup. I loved watching him last year. He's a solid defender. He's big. He can shoot. He's a great 3-and-D guy for like a 6'10" guy. So, like, I love it. And he's been playing fantastic just in the starting lineup. He dropped, 19 the other night or something like that in the second game of the season?
Yeah. When the shooters can have it going, like so far they're shooting 44% from 3, which is second in the league behind the other undefeated team, the Boston Celtics. I don't think we don't need to do a buy or sell on the Celtics. They're the defending champs.
So
Great. Yeah, of course. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below your buy or sell, your very early buy or sell opinions on these undefeated teams, the Lakers, the Thunder, the Cavs. Now, shifting over to the other side of things, a way too early panic meter on some teams that are hoping to do some big things this season that aren't off to the greatest start. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to name you a team, and you guys tell me from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, your panic meter, how worried you are about the start of the season for these teams. So, Jackson, let's get started with you. Let's go to the Denver Nuggets, who so far are 0-2 on the season. Offense has looked pretty bad so far, but their main issue, as it has been in years past, but it's on a whole other level this year, has been when Nikola Jokic has been off the floor. They have been abysmal, and so far losses to the Thunder and most recently the Clippers in a close one on Saturday. So how worried are you about the Denver Nuggets only 2 games into the season?
Like it's 5 or 6. I mean, I think it's going to take a while for this team to kind of gel. I think losing KCP, a veteran leaders can, it's obviously showing, but I think they'll find their other leadership. I think Russ is going to step up as leader. I think Jokic will step up as a leader, and I think Aaron Gordon will also be a leader. And I think they'll be fine. I think they'll still be a playoff team. I don't know about championship aspirations, but I think they'll still be like a 4th or 5th seed. I predicted them at the 4th. That's why I'm not too worried about them, because this is kind of like I knew these problems were a thing coming into the season. So I don't think they're going to be a playing team or like even a 6th seed. I think they're like 4 or 5.
Okay, Joey, how about you?
Yeah, I'm probably around a 6 or a 7, maybe a little more worried, just because the main issue was that when Jokic was off the floor, they were terrible last year, and this year it's just as bad, almost worse. Like, it is. That is such a glaring aspect. I'm with you, though, Gal. I don't think they're going to fall out of the playoffs and into the play-in. I think they'll hover around 4 or 5. Like, they'll be fine. But when we talked like right before about how like their championship window, this might be the last year or it's closed and it's closing.
Yep.
It might actually be shut with the way the Lakers are playing, the way the Thunder are playing.
It can never be fully shut because Nikola Jokic is.
It's like
exactly.
It's like for me, it's almost like I'm still at like 95 to 97% shut on them. I honestly, it's very hard to fully do it, but like outside of Jokic and that starting lineup, they don't have a championship roster at all. Those are the only, and even then, like those other guys just need to start playing better too. Because when Jokic is off the floor, doesn't mean that MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray are all off the floor too. Those guys need to step up as well when he's off the floor.
No, that's very true. I kind of sit with Jackson on this one because as far as my worried, I would probably go a 7. I'm definitely a little worried about this Nuggets team because they definitely have some glaring issues. But as far as championship window, because you have Nikola Jokic, who I know we're only 3 games in. Overall, Nikola Jokic is still the best player in the league right now. And when you have the best player, that automatically gives you a chance, to do some special things. But the main glaring issues with this roster are the lack of consistent 3-point shooting. Because right now on the Nuggets, when you look at their roster, I mean, Nikola Jokic even said it. Outside of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., they kind of have a bunch of streaky shooters. And to go along with that, I would honestly say Michael Porter is a streaky shooter as well. And right now, his shots are not going in, and it's looking bad. When any of those, they're relying on Murray and Porter to knock down shots, and for Porter to knock down some tough, bad shots, we could even say, that when they're not falling, it severely hurts this team because it makes it so much easier to go double team Nikola Jokic in the post when the shooters aren't making shots. So far, Jamal Murray's been knocking down his shots. I would like to see him shoot more. Jokic has been incredible from 3. He had a ridiculous game against the Clippers, nearly single-handedly carried them to a win, hit a career-high 7 threes. He was like, man, no one else is hitting threes. I'll just hit all of them myself. Had 42 points in the game. But Porter is 19% from 3. He's what's his total numbers? 3 for 16 from 3. And going back to the bench so far, they have by far the worst bench in the league. Their bench is scoring 13.5 points per game, which is about 7 worse than the next lowest team. And the shooting percentages from the bench, 22% from the field and 13% from 3, getting outscored by 11 points per game. And this is a bench with and not a whole lot of minutes too. This is a bench that plays the least amount in the whole league because they're so bad. But it's like when Jokic is off the floor, they get outscored by 11 points per game. And the bench, it's Russell Westbrook, who has not looked good so far. Peyton Watson, Peyton Watson looks like he's lost all confidence with his outside shooting. And Dario Saric has not looked that good either. Julian Strawther hasn't been bad, but if you're relying on Julian Strawther to be your best bench option on a championship team, that's just not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it either. And I think Michael Malone is going to try to experiment with his bench unit in the OKC game. He had Jamal Murray out there with the whole bench unit. In the second game, in the Clipper game, he had Murray, Westbrook, and Porter all out there together. He's just going to have to keep trying to find combinations that work. But to me, it all comes down to when Jokic isn't off the floor, they can't score. And it's kind of jarring when you look at the other talented players on this team.
Yeah.
So
it's very unfortunate to see because we saw it a lot, or at least some of us saw it a lot when LeBron was here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It was basically the same thing where it's like, okay, the starting lineup is like solid potential all-stars. Like Z was an all-star. You got a couple of these guys. Larry Hughes was like a 4. You got like a couple guys that are like borderline all-stars, but like solid role player starters. And then everybody else is just god awful. You can't win a team like that. And LeBron was carrying that team forever. It's the same thing with Jokic, like how you said against the Clippers. He single-handedly almost carried that team to a win. Yeah, that's gonna happen a lot this year. Where I would not be surprised if Jokic is battling for another MVP trophy this year because they'll win a lot of games on the backs of that man.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. But I think like those Cavs teams when LeBron James was there, especially the first time, like the All-Star guys, like Mo Williams was an All-Star because he played with LeBron. Z was he was in the later stages of his career. This Nuggets team has current players in their prime. Like this should not be happening.
But none of them have made an All-Star. Like that's the thing. Even those borderline All-Star guys that got it just because of LeBron, none of them have happened with the Nuggets. So you can even say
that's because it's
those guys that the old ones have. That LeBron team actually has a better team than this Nuggets team. I'm not going to say that because I firmly believe Jamal Murray and PJ and Aaron Gordon are way better than anybody we had on that team. But
yeah, they're in a way tougher conference to make All-Star games.
Saying. The fact that you can even make that argument about it is sad, and it's unfortunate for Nuggets fans.
What, Jackson?
I'm not even going to make that argument. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't think anyone ever could make
that argument. I'm thinking of it. Sorry.
Are you dissing my favorite player's dad right now? Are you dissing Bronny James' dad?
What the heck? Oh, my goodness gracious. But no, the Nuggets, I just don't know many ways that they could get better. They'll need to just try to get some shooting from the free agent market and try to just get better from within, which definitely could happen. Michael Malone is a good coach, but right now, shout out to Coach Cove. His prediction of the Nuggets kind of falling down, maybe happening in front of our eyes, but we'll see. Last night will be very telling. Monday night, they play the Raptors in Toronto. If they cannot beat the Raptors, then we can start having some problems. But I don't think that'll happen. They should beat the Raptors.
Goes immediately to like 9.
Nick have them at like 5?
I think 4, maybe 4. I know I had him at 2, which I don't think will happen now at this point. But again, it's just 2 games in. It's just 2 games in. But right now, them having the worst offense in the league, it's a little worrisome. But again, it is only 2 games in.
I was gonna say I had him at 3.
I don't think that's gonna sustain. I think
they're not going to be the worst offense in the whole league for the rest of the season. But next team on the panic meter, shifting over to the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that I have had some high hopes for this season. So far, they beat the Sixers on opening night without Maxey and Embiid. But then this weekend on Friday night, they lost at home to the Chicago Bulls, gave up 133 points, I believe, to the Bulls, who have been looking very good offensively. I do want to say shout out to the Bulls. But then losing on Sunday night in Brooklyn to the Nets, giving the Nets their first victory of the season. And so far, it has been the Bucks defense, again, that has been a pretty big issue so far this season. Outside of Giannis and Brook Lopez, hasn't been looking the best. So I guess I'll start us off with the panic meter. I'm not too terribly worried because also Chris Middleton's been out as well. They're missing a starter. 4 or 5 is probably where I would go. But I mean, I definitely do take into account that, these are early games in the season that could cost them later on. You should not be losing games to the Bulls and Nets. Those will hurt you at the end of the season.
Yep.
Yeah, I was with you. I was even probably around a 3. And then as soon as I forgot that they lost to the Nets on Sunday, and then I was like, oh no, that's like an 8. That's like an 8 panic meter. That defense, if you're losing to the Nets, your defense is bad. Like, I know Cam Thomas is a bucket, but like you can't lose to the GFF.
Well, they couldn't stop him or Schroeder in that game. Dennis Schroeder had 29 points and 6 assists in that game. And Schroeder's going to be able to put up some numbers. He's a good player.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
He is. But no.
I'm not too worried. I mean, yeah, you lost to the Nets, but you still got Dame, you still got Giannis, and when Middleton comes back, they'll be fine. I'm not worried.
Because I feel like this is very similar to the Nuggets, the way we're talking about it, where yeah, they'll be fine because we know they got the players. They'll be okay, but maybe they're not going to be as good as we thought, or maybe are they going to still be able to compete if their defense is this bad? Yeah, their offense and their stars are going to be great, but I know Miles was really high on them. Are you going to put them lower like we did with the Nuggets? Like maybe they're not going to finish 2. Maybe they'll finish 4 or 5. With the Bucks, do you think they're going to finish wherever you had them? Or if their defense is like this, I don't see them getting a top seed in the East.
I had them 4th going into the season, and I would still stand by that.
Okay.
For sure. Because another thing, like the Brooklyn Nets, at least for this first half of the season, they have solid players to where they are going to steal wins from good teams in the first half of the season. Like, that's just going to happen. And in the Nets game, yes, Schroeder and Cam Thomas went off, but it was the Bucks offense that was kind of a problem. The Nets do still have some solid defenders, and that was kind of slowing down the Bucks in that game. So I'm honestly not too worried. I think the Nets are going to be able to steal some wins from good teams through the first half of the season. And same thing with the Bulls. The Bulls and Nets are 2 teams that are going to steal some unexpected wins from some good teams.
100%. As I said, they're going to trade half their team come right before the All-Star break. And
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why they're going to fall. But no, the Bucks, I'm not too worried. I think they're way different from the Nuggets from the fact that like we've seen inconsistencies from Jamal Murray and Michael Porter to where it makes sense to be worried. With Giannis, you got Dame still, who's playing great. Middleton in the regular season's been kind of in the playoffs. He's still a monster. Brook Lopez has been great defensively blocking shots. Bobby Portis has been an early 6th man of the year candidate. They'll be fine. I think they'll be fine.
I'm with you. I think I'm with you.
Final team on the panic meter, Joey. We'll go to you for this one. A team that made the Eastern Conference Finals last season, the Indiana Pacers, off to a 1-2 start to the season. Now, so far, even with the 1 win, a little worrisome for me personally so far. They had to get a come-from-behind victory against the Pistons on opening night. They were very close to losing in Detroit to the Pistons, then getting blown out in New York City to the Knicks in a playoff rematch on Friday in a game where Tyrese Halliburton did not score. And then on Sunday afternoon, losing to Tyrese Maxey and the Sixers without Paul George and Joel Embiid. Maxey had 45 points. He was incredible. But this was a game where the Pacers literally gave this one away. They were in this one down the stretch. It was very close. But in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, in the final minute and a half, they turned the ball over on 3 straight possessions and were saved by a crazy Tyrese Halliburton 3-pointer to send the game into overtime. Then in overtime, they missed 4 free throws in overtime and lost to the Sixers. So far they're 1-2. Very well could have been 0-3. So what are you thinking about the Pacers?
My panic, I don't really put a whole lot of stock into the Sixers loss as much, just because Maxey going off, it's kind of inevitable, especially against a Pacers team that we know doesn't like defense. So not super concerned by that, and the free throws, the turnovers are a little, especially in crucial moments, but hopefully the longer the season goes on, you don't do that no more. Though I think they'll be fine in games like that. My panic button for the Pacers are not too high. I think it's about a 3 or 4 personally. My panic button for Tyrese, though, because last year he started out as the earliest MVP candidate, and this year
he's trash.
The first game against the Pistons, that the one game they did win, he had 15 points, shot 1 for 9 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, the one just happened to be the game winner.
Oh, yeah, the one that happened to be the game winner. He was 0 for 8 up to that point. To me personally, I wouldn't let him shoot that ball, but luckily it went in. Yeah. But
never again.
4 assists. 4 assists in that game.
That's what
the next game against the Knicks where they got blown out. 0 points, 0 for 8, 0 for 7 from 3, only 5 assists. Even against the game last night where he shot a little better. 22 points, 4 for 9. He only had 2 assists.
Yeah, that's
this
the thing.
man. The reason this man was on the USA Olympic team, and even though he didn't play, and you could make fun of him or whatever you want, I think he was injured. That's why. But his playmaking ability was so elite last year. Even the second half of the year when they got Siakam and they started clicking a lot better, and Halliburton was starting to have a down year, his playmaking, his assist numbers were still consistent. This is not the same Tyrese Halliburton we're seeing right now. He is not getting the ball to now I haven't watched a whole lot of film, but numbers for me right now, they're speaking a lot because this man forces the ball to people. He should be having 8 to 10 assists a game.
Yeah, Jackson, I'll extend it to you a little bit. Extend it to just the whole backcourt of the Pacers so far, because through 3 games in, Nembhard has also not been very good. So far, the Halliburton-Nembhard backcourt is combining for 19 points and 9 assists on 32% shooting from the field and about 18% from 3. It's been bad so far. Are you worried about the Pacers backcourt, or is this just a rough stretch to start the season?
My panic button for the Pacers is actually at a 10.
What?
Listen, they're not scoring, and they don't really play like they're known for being a high-scoring team, and they're not scoring. And your best player looks like a shell of himself right now. Unless Tyrese gets out of his slump, I don't think Pacers aren't going to be really anything. I mean, Pascal can't single-handedly take this team to the playoffs. He's good. He's not. That's like, you need a player like a Jokic, like one of those upper echelon guys to be able to do that.
Well, no, you just need Halliburton to play like he did last year.
Yeah.
Like, that's really all it takes. But, I mean, Jackson, to your point with the offense, I just did some number research over here. So last season, we knew them to be the best scoring, one of the best, I think it may have been the best scoring team in NBA history.
All time.
Because of their pace. They had the second highest pace in the league. Fun fact, the number 1 pace in the league last year was the Washington Wizards. Did not know that. Jackson's favorite team there. This season, their pace has gone from second to bottom 10. They are 22nd in the league in pace, which is just that's one of the reasons that why they're not scoring as much. They're not getting as many possessions as they did. Or I even gave them too much credit. They're 26th in the league in pace, so they're actually a bottom 5 pace in basketball, and that's because they're not getting as many possessions as they did last year. They're losing a whole lot of points.
That's why I'm like the Pacers themselves. Like I think them as a team will hopefully get better, but it does start with Tyrese, and that's where my panic meter is. Like it's not necessarily because he is the mastermind. He is the one who has the ball in his hand. He gives it to everybody. He runs the offense. If you can't score, if you can't pass, if you can't do nothing, what are you doing with this team if you're the leader? If he starts to get it going, I think they'll be okay. But I'm with Gogla. They just need Halliburton to start playing, and they might be fine. But if they don't, if he doesn't, panic meter 11, 10, 11.
Well, see, the problem right now is that he is playing. That's why they're not good.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, let us know in the comments your panic meter for those 3 teams, the Nuggets, Bucks, and Pacers so far. Some other teams to highlight before we get out of here. I wanted to touch on the LA Clippers so far because they've had a really good start to the season. 2-1 through 3 games. Nearly beat the Suns in their first game at the Intuit Dome, lost by 3 in overtime. Then good, solid victories against the who did they just play? I'm drawing a blank. The Golden State Warriors on Sunday afternoon. And then the Denver Nuggets on a Saturday, where James Harden, the duo of James Harden and Ivica Zubac has been amazing so far. The best rebounder and the best passer so far. The Clippers have looked awesome so far. They look way better than I think any of us could have projected them being without Kawhi Leonard.
This is the James Harden that's playing. This one right here. That's the James Harden we're getting. Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. I love to see it.
I missed him. I missed him very much.
I might have been
And-
wrong with saying Ty Lue is the first coach being fired because he's got these boys playing pretty well.
I wasn't that high on James Harden, but then I'm just glad to see him playing well. I love that man. I've always, I mean, there's been times where I disliked him for a little bit, but he's the player who got me into basketball, and he's still probably my favorite player of all time. So I love to see him playing well.
Yeah,
And I
my
will forever
biggest
be.
yeah, my biggest complaint with him the last few seasons was that he wasn't shooting enough. And it's showing now, like, his shooting percentages are honestly brutal, but him taking a bunch of shots is just opening so much more because the Clippers need him to take a whole bunch of shots. And he's also been getting back to the free throw line at a much more constant rate like he was in his years in Houston. Not saying in any way he's, the exact same player like he was in Houston, but he's just been looking great. I mean, he's averaging nearly a triple-double, 25 points, 8 boards, leading the league, as I said, with 12 assists. But Big Zoo, 23 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, getting 16 shot attempts per game. I mean, Harden's been looking for him. And Zubac's, he's been a player that in the past has been kind of a strict pick-and-roll player. But over the last few seasons, he's developed a nice little post game, a nice touchdown low near the rim, and they have been going to him a lot to start the season. And then even Norman Powell in that Nuggets game had 37 points, 7 threes, did a nice Michael Porter impression, had 37 points with 0 assists. But, I mean, those three, Harden, Powell, and Zubats, they've just been great. And if they can keep playing like this with getting the defensive contributions from everyone else, they're gonna be in every single game. That's kind of what I predicted in the start of the season, that they'll be in a lot of close games. We'll just have to see if they have the closers to finish them out. So far, they have.
Do you think I think James Harden can keep a similar, keep up similar play to this, but do you think Zubats is gonna play like this the whole season? Unless Kawhi comes in.
Yeah, not 23 points, but he's. I mean, we know James Harden's a guy that's been known to get his big guys the ball. Zubats is gonna, and you could make the case like, I mean, Zubats. I mean, they're even getting the ball to him more than they did Dwight Howard when he was in Houston. Like, they're getting him the ball a lot because they know how much they need his scoring in the post. I mean, I could see him putting up 18 and 10 per game with the amount of times they're going to him.
I think he's going to be an all-star this year.
With the way he's playing, he's looking like it, man. It's crazy.
Can't knock it right. Can't knock that argument now.
Yeah, he's been one of the best bigs in the game the first week of the season. So just shout out to the Clippers, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, big job, Zoo. Thank you for giving me the steal of the fantasy draft in our fantasy league. But a couple other teams to highlight here so far. The Pistons, as I said, want to shout them out again. Even though they're 0-3, they've been playing some tough basketball. Nearly beat the Pacers, played tough against Cleveland in their first road game. Nearly beat the Celtics, man. They nearly did it. They had a crazy 23-point comeback. They didn't have the closers to do it, kind of like that Pacers game. But JB Bickerstaff doing a great job over there, automatically making the Pistons competitive. Very impressive to see.
Agreed.
Cade Cunningham's been great. Jaden Ivey's been playing great. Duran's doing his job. I mean, I've seen a lot of. I watch, like, every time I tune in, I feel like Jalen Duran's like one-on-one with someone either on the perimeter or down low, and they're like trying to make a move on him, and he's so good fundamentally. Like, down low is great, just playing great defense. He's exactly what I was hoping for him to be. And he's grabbing boards, and he's letting all the rest of the bucket getters do their thing. Because we know Cade can get buckets. Jaden Ivey is showing that he can get buckets too. Tobias Harris, veteran presence, he's been Tobias Harris. And Tim Hardaway, I haven't even seen him miss yet. Granted, I've watched maybe like 5 minutes of this team play, but he's like 4 for 4 in those 5 minutes though. So
yeah, the Pistons shooters that they brought in to provide the spacing, they've been playing well. That's why I really love those additions that they made. I mean, Hardaway's shooting 47% from three. For Beasley's 50%. You know, yeah, they're just playing very well. So despite not having a win yet, I think that this is probably the best case scenario for the Pistons. Probably not going to get in the play-in tournament. If they could just stay in games with the potential to steal a few wins and still be able to be in the lottery, that's probably where they would want to be at. So shout out to the Pistons for their start. And then finally, the Golden State Warriors a little bit. There is a little bit of news. Unfortunately, in the Clippers game, Steph Curry twisted his ankle twice, the same ankle twice. So he's now going to miss the rest of the week. He's going to be reevaluated on Friday. So we'll see what the Warriors can do in that stretch. I mean, the first two games, they looked ridiculous. They against the Blazers and the Jazz, two lowly teams in the Western Conference. They beat the Blazers by 36 and the Jazz by 41 before that Clippers game. But I mean, they've all just been playing well. So shout out to the Warriors. I'm excited to see how they can play now that Steph Curry's injured, because this is kind of what Jackson and I were saying. You know, if Steph goes down, they're not going to be, you know, that good. We'll see how it goes.
I said they're gonna be the 13 seed depending on this week. I could change that. You know, I'm okay with getting my feet there. It's okay. It's okay, because apparently Buddy Hield's greatest player of all time.
Yeah, apparently, Buddy Hield's the most efficient shooter in the league.
I haven't seen him miss ever, dude.
It's been crazy. But no, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below on all these teams so far. Excited to see how they play this week. We might do the same thing again. Hopefully we'll have Coach Kove back up for the next one. But make sure you stay tuned for the Run in the Paint recaps. They will be back up Tuesday through Friday at 9 a.m. or at 6 a.m. to go over the big games of the week. Again, Friday, next podcast episode. Hopefully we'll have the full crew back on. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.